present the New Jersey State High School Game of the Week. FIOS 1, bringing you the world outside your door. The Star Ledger and NJ.com. Everything Jersey.
Chilly conditions under the night skies at the brand new Meadowlands Stadium, where NJ.com and the Star Ledger with Verizon FIOS 1 brings you the NJSIAA Football Championships. Tonight it's the North 1 Group 3 State Championship as the Tappan Golden Knights take on the Wayne Hills Patriots. A quick look at the Group 3 bracket shows us how these two teams have obliterated their opponents on their way to getting here. Hi everybody, and welcome again inside the new Meadowlands. Alongside Rich Matarante, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. Old kid versus new kid on the block here. For the Wayne Hill Patriots, Rich, this is nothing new to them. They're in the state final for the 13th time in the last 14 years. While for Old Tappan, there's a feeling that while they are newbies here, they could certainly get the job done.
Well, Wayne Hills never rebuilds, they just retool. They have been in the finals for 13 out of the last 14 years. This year they're relying heavily on senior running back Brian Dowling, and when needed, they've called upon sophomore quarterback Kevin Olson, who's thrown for 15 touchdown passes as well. So they've got a fairly balanced attack.
Turning to our star player for Old Tappan, it's Devin Fuller. Now, he's just a junior, but the hype has already followed him for the last couple of seasons. People are talking about him as being the best player in the class of 2012 in the entire state.
Well, he's a junior, so he's got another year. It's amazing what he's done this year. I'm really looking forward to see what he's going to do next year as a senior. He has accounted for about 80% of the Old Tappan offense this year, and a very exciting player. And it's going to be real incumbent upon Wayne Hills to keep him in check and contain him and not let him make a big play.
For Wayne Hills coach Chris Olson, again, this was a transition season. They lost a boatload of outstanding seniors, but lost kind of in the shuffle for some time. Brian Dowling returning. He's just verbally committed recently to UMass, and he's a guy that no matter who you have around him, he is going to be a threat, and he has been all season.
Well, he's rushed for over 1,600 yards. He's another kid that plays both sides of the ball, never comes out of the game. They lean on him heavily. He never wears down. He's a workhorse, and he's a big key to their success this year.
So does Wayne Hills end their drought, which for them is only 1 year? Or does Old Tappan pick up their first state title since 1985? That's what's at stake tonight at the new Meadowlands. We'll come back with the opening kickoff. You're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1's presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. Old Tappan and Wayne Hills match up for the North 1 Group 3 State Championship. Ralph Bednarczyk with Rich Matarante. Before we check in with Jillian Jesk, let's take a look at our Verizon 411 keys to the ballgame.
Well, for Old Tappan, what they have to do is they got to win the line of scrimmage. The offensive line has to control the line of scrimmage to give Fuller an opportunity to work his magic. On defense, they're going to have to key on Brian Dowling. They've got to contain him and not let him get out in the open field. For Wayne Hills, just the opposite. They want to hit Fuller as often as possible, try to take him out of his game. And they want to avoid turnovers. The less they can give the short field to Old Tappan, the better off they feel they're going to be in the long run.
And introducing a cold third member of our crew throughout this new Meadowlands State Championships, let's welcome back in Jillian Jesk.
Thanks, guys. Well, for Wayne Hills coach Chris Olson, making it to the playoffs and playing in championships isn't something new to him. But what is having his son Kevin as the starting quarterback. Kevin's two older brothers, Greg and Chris, both played, but this is the icing on the cake. That's what Coach Olson said. He also said that Kevin hasn't been fazed by the championship game. It's something that he's used to, and he's hoping he's not fazed on the field. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, you would think so, being the third member of the Olson family. The key is, though, Kevin does not have a state title, which he is looking for to join that exclusive membership in the family, because older brothers Christian and Greg, now in the NFL with the Chicago Bears, both possess state titles with Wayne Hills. Old Tappan has won the toss, and they will receive. The Patriots with the black-on-black uniforms, the Golden Knights with a gold over white. And we'll see Devin Fuller appear for the first time and immediately to see what he can do in terms of establishing the tempo. Mike Drees will kick off. Longtime wide receiver for this Wayne Hills program. One of the holdovers from last year's team that lost here in the state title game to their other rival, Ramapo, 18-6. Drees under cold and chilly skies. And the North 1 Group 3 championship game is underway, and this is Jeff Pinelli from about his own 3-yard line. And Pinelli finds a quick alley, and he takes it to the 29-yard line. So Devin Fuller, the electrifying YouTube sensation, 6 foot, 185-pound junior quarterback, first team all-league, getting his final instructions from his head coach, Brian Dunn. For Fuller, he has 50 touchdowns. I'm not sure if there's any other statistics that are really that relevant. He has nearly 4,000 total yards, but he has 50 touchdowns with everything he's done this year. He has only 4 interceptions. You saw the 19 passing touchdowns. He has 31 as a runner. Fuller fakes the run, now throws across the middle and completes. He is on target to his tight end, Dale Veselki. As we take a look at the offensive starters with Rodman, Pinelli, Martinez, Andrew Dobish, and Dale Veselki, his tight end who just made the catch. Petroselli, Al-Sharif, Falkenstern, On, and Weissman being his veteran unit up front. And Old Tappan already off to a good start. They average 42 points per game, 316.5 rushing yards per game. And a 1st and 10 as they go back to quick work. This is Fuller. And 2 first downs on the first 2 plays. And that Wayne Hills defense that will be at the mercy of Fuller tonight. Davies, Alvarez, Lane, and Greenfield up front to try to contain him, with Russ Piekarski, Massey, Kenny, and Hogan having great years as linebackers. Matt Shunk, Troy Zaffino, and Eugene Lowe. And of course we'll see Brian Dowling at corner a lot as well. To the 48-yard line. It's Fuller, and this time he stopped for no gain. So, Rich Matarante, we've seen already just a brief taste of what this Golden Knights offense can do. For Wayne Hills, of course, we just alluded to the keys. They have this tall order on their hands.
Well, the first play was kind of interesting because Fuller took the snap, took a few steps forward, looked like he was going to run, stopped, and threw a pass. He made the linebackers stop, and that allowed Veselki an opportunity to get open.
Again in a 4-receiver look. Keith Rodman is junior fullback next to him. It's a pretty young team as Fuller's chased from behind. Now cuts in underneath, staying on his feet, and there is the skill on display. There's one publication that called him the most dynamic offensive player in New Jersey, ahead of the Gatorade Player of the Year, Savon Huggins of St. Peter's Prep. And this man is only a junior.
And this play is an example of his athletic ability. Boxed in, defense had him well played, and he's still able to get out of it and make positive yardage.
Fuller has a 13-yard average as a runner. So we'll try to throw out all the jaw-dropping stats at him early on before he piles up some more potentially in this game. And Chris Olsen saying before the game, nobody has stopped him yet. He can do everything. It's picking your poison. A 3rd down and 5. He fires, and there's a poison. Intercepted by Dowling. And Brian Dowling will be down at the 34-yard line, and the Wayne Hills defense passes an early test.
Well, Dowling now, who we're going to see on offense, he makes his first play of the day as a defender. We talked about it in the opening about turnovers. There's your first one of the game. Let's see if that comes back to haunt Old Tappan. Fuller rolled out to his right. Not too much pressure, but he underthrows his receiver, and Dowling was right there to make the play.
for Dowling. He had a big season last year as a defensive back in terms of INTs, had 4. That's his 3rd of this season. So now he is in at offense, and the sophomore Kevin Olson will toss to him. And Dowling will turn it back inside, and his offensive talent on display like Fuller's. 1 play and a first down for the Patriots.
Yeah, he got through the first line of defense, and then it was all him. He put his head down and drove for the extra yards and was able to get the first down.
As we take a look at the rest of the offense for this Wayne Hills squad with Olson, just a sophomore quarterback at 6'2", 185. We'll show you the starters in a second. From the 45, it's Dowling trying to bounce it outside. And there's a flag down at the end of the play. And this looks like it's coming back. Taking a look at those offensive starters with Kevin Olson, Dowling and Hogan as fullback, Dreesy, Zaffino, reliable receivers, Davies, the tight end, Jake Shunk, and the 2 Avedisians, twins with Ivkoff and Sam Schultz being the right guard. And the call going against Wayne Hills with our referee, Dennis Koch. And they'll mark off.
Well, this is going to put Olson into a possible passing situation, so we're going to maybe get to see him, get the jitters out early. Now that they're in a 1st and 20.
And that ruined the nice run outside by Dowling. And now Kevin Olson, in his 1st year as a starter, taking over for the outstanding Mike Quinn, gives in the middle. And this is James Hogan, a 6', 205-pound senior. Defensively, while they don't get as much acclaim, the Golden Knights do have a solid crew in a 3-5-3 alignment with Weissman, Al-Sharif, and Rodman up front. The 5 linebackers with Martinez and Veselowski, Kramer, Sacaccio, and Falkenstern. And a 3 in the back with Pinelli, Dobish, and Fuller. Dowling on the cutback inside, and he only picks up a couple on 2nd down and long, and Olson will be faced with his 3rd and long situation. Good crowd on hand tonight at the New Meadowlands to watch this one. They're used to making the trips to Giant Stadium along Route 3 East to get here, but the last time they were here in the snow in 2009, it was a good Ramapo team, but surprised Wayne Hills and their veteran group led by Mike Quinn at quarterback and Dowling as a junior running back. That the weather may have something to do with it, just a lot of mistakes by Wayne Hills, and they responded this year to go 10-1. Olson down the middle, and the ball in the air knocked away by Fuller. And he could play on the defensive side of the field too.
That was a very good defensive play. I thought he had him for a second, but a real good closing speed by Fuller to get to the play and knock it down. Outstanding play by Fuller.
It'll be a 3rd and 27, and Dowling is going to punt it away. Dowling, 1st team all division as a specialist too, 35-yard average. Fuller is the return man and a threat in any situation. And Fuller forced to call for the fair catch, and he'll take it and start there with his offense at his own 26-yard line. You're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1's presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. So for Devin Fuller, more about him in some shootouts this season. He has put up nearly historic numbers in a playoff shootout victory over Paramus on November 19th. He ran for 406 yards, 6 touchdowns. He passed for 104 and another score. And there's some coaches out there that are mixed if he's better as a passer or a runner. This time he takes it as a runner. Dances outside, flag down on the backside, and he's out of bounds. And this one looks like it's coming back again.
Even if it comes back, that play was a very good example of Fuller's athleticism. He could end up playing quarterback, running back, or wide receiver at the next level because he looks like he's got the size, he's got the speed, he can see the field, he finds the holes, and he's quick to them.
Well, that is one of the questions that people out there have. Most recently, Boston College, Rutgers have made offers. I'm surprised there aren't even more. UConn, Georgia Tech, Indiana, Oregon, UCLA have all checked in on him, and once they see some of the latest tapes, once they get through their seasons, I think more will come flooding his way.
His stats are like most people's careers, and he's only a junior.
Video game-like numbers.
Yeah.
A 1st and 20. And Fuller this time sends all his backs and receivers out to the flat. He'll take it himself. He runs right up the gut behind one of his linemen, his right tackle, Derek Weissman. And that's a modest pickup of only about 4 yards. And he comes from a very interesting background, does Devin Fuller. His father, Bart, who is currently an Old Tappan assistant coach, played safety for TCU in the mid-'80s, trying to tackle Eric Dickerson back in the day in the great SMU Monsters.
And most people in the East won't be familiar with TCU, but they're going to get to be familiar with them as they've entered the Big East.
And that kind of flew out one little rumor on the internet that if TCU wants to make a presence in the Big East and maybe recruit some Northeast players, this guy might be the first, considering he's the son of a former TCU safety. Is downfield, the ball incomplete. He was looking to hit his tight end again, Dale Veselski, 6'1" senior, who was first team All-League this year with 5 receiving touchdowns.
And it looks like the Old Tappan sideline was looking for a flag here. Not sure if there was contact, maybe a little bit of contact, but I'm not sure if it took him off his route. Probably a good no call.
So there's going to be a 3rd down and long. To get to the other part of Fuller, his mother, Cynthia, was and currently still is a backup singer for many different performers, including the late Luther Vandross. And she now tours with Bruce Springsteen, who you're a fan of. You have his poster up in your room. Rich, Steely Dan, and Devin, as a young kid, he was always tag along, and he was always amazed at the size of the productions. This is too long of a run for him, 3rd and 17, and he's going to be well shy of the 1st down marker. He only got it up to the 27-yard line. So the Stars and the Big Lights will have to wait for another series for Devin Fuller. It's going to be a 4th down and 9.
And this is probably the best thing Wayne Hills can look for, because if they get the 4th down, they take Fuller out of the game.
Into punt, Drew Martinez. And Dowling, and he'll secure the fair catch with pretty good field position right about the 43-yard line. And Wayne Hills will go back to work. So they've been able to successfully stop Devin Fuller on his first 2 possessions. It's a team that comes in averaging 42 points per game. So for Chris Olsen, I would imagine, well, he might not be doing some handstands, but certainly pretty pleased by what he's able to do on the defensive end.
He's got to be happy right now. Fuller, 50 touchdowns. That's just under 5 touchdowns a game just by himself. So he's averaging over 30 points a game by himself. So to force him to punt and get a turnover on the first 2 possessions got to be good.
Dowling on the sweep. And they couldn't quite block the edge, but he's still able to turn enough of the corner to pick up close to 6 yards.
Dowling doesn't want to be lost in this whole Fuller discussion. So he's been the workhorse for Wayne Hills. Actually has some good speed himself. Tried to turn the corner, got knocked out of bounds.
And nor should Dowling. In terms of touchdowns, he is Wayne Hills' all-time leader with 72 and playing his final game in a Patriots uniform. Olsen on 2nd down goes right back to him, and they couldn't block on the interior. The play was stacked up, but Dowling still made it a plus. It'll be 3rd down and short. Dowling goes 5'11", 195, and college recruiters out there weren't quite sold on him until recently. UMass was the first school to offer him, and just this past week, UMass head coach Kevin Morris visited him. He also had some interest from Buffalo and East Carolina, but no firm offers. Monmouth and Towson were his only other offers at this stage, and kind of a surprise to see that for a guy that can excel at the high school level, really on both sides of the ball. Here's Dowling. Turns it back inside, flag down, and he pushes forward inside the 40. And we've had New Meadowlands field littered with flags in this first quarter. And we'll have to again wait on the ruling from our referee. And Dennis Koch tells us holding is the call.
I looked at a lot of the scouting reports on some of these players, and there's a lot of players that have some interest in the CAA, the Colonial Athletic Association, and playing at those schools at the next level. And I'm looking forward to it as an official in that league, seeing these guys, how they transition from high school to college ball.
And a guy like Dowling, who's set to have 4.5 speed, Rutgers and West Virginia were very interested in him and still kind of evaluating. But it's not a program that is off the radar. Wayne Hill's even having a first-round NFL draft choice with Greg Olson, as the pass fired and completed by Olson. He finds Mike Dreese, and he is near first down yardage. On a 3rd and 12, they pick up about 11. Dreese's got a couple of receiving touchdowns, second team all-conference receiver last year. It'll be 4th and short.
Again, well, you see the replay here. He looked like he was going to go for the short pass, and then he was able to go deeper downfield. It's a real close spot, but I think they're going to be short. And now Coach Olson's left with his first big decision of the day. Does he go for it or does he punt? It looks like he's going to go for it.
They've got their big fullback, Nick Massey, into the game too. Instead, it's Dowling. Dowling trying to bounce it outside. He broke it, and he almost broke free before Fuller was waiting for him.
Wow, that's a lot of effort right there. Second effort, third effort. It looked like he was stopped, well short of gaining the first down, but he never gave up on the play. As you see, takes the handoff. He's popped, stopped, stood up, gets off of that, hit again, but he just keeps driving his legs, pushing the pile, and working hard to get that first down. That's an outstanding play by Brian Dowling.
For a CAA player, UMass, I think, has found themselves somebody. And possibly even a Mid-American Conference player, depending on what UMass decides to do in their future. Olson on the move, over the middle. He's got Dreese, who hauls it in front of Fuller. Another first down for the Patriots.
And I'll tell you, for a sophomore, he doesn't look like he's fazed at all by this game, especially in this location. Very calmly took the snap, rolled out to his right, waited for his receiver to get open, and hit him perfectly in stride.
Well, for a coach's son, he certainly has that kind of demeanor. As a discussion here as the Patriots coaching staff, I think that's Chris Olson. I'm not sure what he can be looking for here.
Only thing I could maybe thought they didn't spot it well.
This is James Hogan for the first time, and he's to the 27-yard line, picking up about 4. But back to Kevin Olson, you would just have to expect that growing up in that household for Kevin was just such a learning experience, attending all of those camps in look and body type. Coach Olson says you can see both sons in Christian Olson, who went on to Notre Dame and then Virginia, and Greg Olson went on to Miami and now with the Chicago Bears. You can see both sons in Kevin right now, and Kevin just a sophomore, but at this stage 6'2", 185. He's already developing kind of the same way his brothers did. It's Dowling that slips forward to the 20, and the spot is going to pick up another first down.
Well, he's got Greg Olson's size, and Chris Olson was a quarterback, so I could see where Coach Olson would think that about Kevin. They've got a nice drive going here. They're moving the chains, working the clock, and they're now almost into the red zone.
Approaching the final minute of the first quarter. Dowling active as always. He gets to the call again. And this time he is stood up and dropped.
So there's a lot of effort, second effort on both Dowling and the other back. They're tough to bring down. They keep their legs driving and keep pushing the pile forward.
A 2nd down and 8 in the playoffs for Wayne Hills. They smoked High Point 49-0 in the semifinals, and the game was over in the first quarter. And then shut out Wayne Valley 48-0 in the first round, 97-0 their combined score in the playoffs. They've got 1 loss on the season. Olsen, good play action. Downfield, open man, and it's intercepted. Taking it the other way, Andrew Dobish for the touchback. And the first turnover committed by the Patriots.
Well, we're even up in turnovers now. He had his receiver open for a second, but Dobish got over, read the play, read the quarterback's eyes, and got over, closed in, made the interception in the end zone. Excellent play by Dobish. You'll see Olsen drop back. Right now his receiver's open, but Dobish, who was not in the play, not even seen by Olsen at the time he threw the ball, just got over and made the interception.
6th interception thrown by Kevin Olsen. Dobish with his first INT, and Devin Fuller and the offense 0 for 2 so far. Back on the field inside the final minute of the first. He fakes the run, looks long, underthrows his man, and it's knocked away. He looked downfield to try to hit John Traynor, a young sophomore receiver with great speed downfield, but the coverage provided by Dreesy.
And Traynor looked like he had a step on the defensive backs, but he looked like he tripped. It looked like the turf got him. And that put him out of balance and did not allow him to catch the ball.
Dowling on the pass defense. He leads the team now with 9. It's tough to argue against Brian Dowling's impact at the next level. I think he's shown us everything in the first. Fuller with a 2nd and 10. Options to himself. And a 5-yard pickup to the 25. We'll get 1 more play in before the end of the first.
And so far, Wayne Hills' defense has been able to contain him. 3-4 yards at a clip. He was averaging 13 yards on the ground per carry. They've been able to contain him so far.
And he's a real veteran of this offense run by Coach Brian Dunn. The Old Tappan program has been to the playoffs now 8 times in the last 10 years, but never this far, as they're going to let the quarter run out. It'll be a 3rd and 5 for the Golden Knights when we come back. Scoreless first quarter. And the Group 3 final. You're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1's presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. If you want to relive all of today's action again and again, check out NJ.com/Game of the Week for complete game rebroadcast from the convenience of your computer 24/7. You'll also find archived games from this past season and more. It's the Star Ledger/NJ.com. It's everything high school sports. Everything in that first quarter. Rich Matarante was kind of a back and forth tug of war. Nobody fell into the pool, but came close a couple of times.
Well, the game is 1 quarter less now. It's a 0-0 game. Both teams are still in it. Wayne Hills has been able to contain Fuller so far. Both teams have a turnover. So the game is going along, I think, much as we expected.
It'll be a 3rd down and 5 for the Golden Knights on their 3rd offensive series. And so far it's been exclusively Devin Fuller running the football and a couple of passes downfield. And the 6-foot, 185-pound junior that grows by the day back in, as usual, at shotgun. He'll roll out, now under a rush. Now he's trapped and dropped. Could have been close to a horse collar at the tail end of that, but Peter Davies, the best pass rusher for the Patriots, able to get him.
Yeah, they put pressure on him. They came from the outside. They kept him bottled in the middle and gave him nowhere to run. He did almost break out. He broke the first tackle, but then on the second time they were able to corral him and bring him to the ground. But even on a play like this, his athleticism shows, and he's still tough to tackle.
Martinez shanks one. A line drive that Dowling will let rest to the 42-yard line. And Wayne Hills so far has escaped that pick your poison situation Chris Olson was worrying about before the game. It goes for 35 yards. For Wayne Hills, we alluded to in our open that the Patriots are not a new kid out the block in terms of this stage. In the final 13 of the last 14 years, losing last year but winning from 04 to 08, 5 straight state titles, and they're here knocking on the door again. But they also had a 55-game winning streak that ended last fall. So for the first time since 2004, they didn't enter the season as the reigning North 1 Group 1 champions. Is up the middle. It is Dowling, and he is off before Fuller finally caught him.
Well, he just breaks out into the open, again eluding some tackles. The offensive line opened up a pretty good hole for him, and then he got into the second level. It's just a simple off-tackle play that he improvises and cuts outside because the Old Tappan defense had that hole closed. The hole opened and then closed pretty quickly. And he was able to convert that on his own for a large run.
Longest play of the day, 31 yards for Dowling. Wayne Hills has been steadily being able to move the football. They had an interception in the end zone their last series. And now to the outside, cutting it back inside. This is their slot receiver, Troy Zaffino, a junior, that's able to carry it along inside the 20. First down, Patriots again.
Yep, they gave the ball to somebody else. Maybe Old Tappan was keying on Dowling on that, and they surprised him with Zaffino, and he's gotten them into the red zone. The Old Tappan sideline wanted a holding, but didn't see one on that replay.
Back to Zaffino as the feature back. And he's able to grab 4 running behind his senior center, Steve Ifkoff. All 5 offensive linemen by Coach Chris Olson had to be replaced. That's just remarkable. They bring in a brand new quarterback, the entire O-line, a couple of new receivers. Peter Davies was lost most of last year due to an ankle injury. He wasn't even a starter at tight end. And here they are 10-1. Once again, of course, you have Dowling back, you have Hogan back. There are some parts, but for such a large turnover, it doesn't seem like it changes much. Olson rolls out. Hogan on the catch. Looks to dart around Martinez. He could not. He'll be short of the first down.
Well, that's a testament to Coach Olson. As we said earlier, there's no rebuilding. He just retools, and they're always competitive. Here you see Olson rolling out to his left, and he just kind of shuffles the ball forward to Hogan, who catches it for about an 8-yard gain. So it leaves them again into a 3rd and short situation.
You see Hogan there, number 3. He was the quarterback on the JV in 9th grade. And he was the quarterback kind of caught between Mike Quinn, who is an all-county, all-state caliber player who's now at Elon, and Kevin Olson, who's a sophomore. Hogan's a senior. And Chris Olson had a tough decision to make, to go to the guy that has a little bit more experience, is a little older than James Hogan. And Hogan has played all over as a defensive lineman, a fullback, a tight end. He's Mr. Utility. And they had to make the decision over the summer whether or not to commit to Kevin Olson for this season. And Chris Olson felt, as we get a timeout being called here by Wayne Hills, he felt this was the team. Coincidentally, this was the team to insert the young quarterback into, because he had, if he kept Hogan, Nick Massey, and Brian Dowling together as a 3-man backfield, Davies, a senior tight end, they thought, okay, we can ease him in this way, and it has worked out.
It has worked out, and you got to give props to Mr. Hogan, who is taking a back seat to Kevin Olson and Brian Dowling, where he was once in the featured position of quarterback. He sacrificed headlines for his team, and it's paying off for them.
Yeah, more on James Hogan. I mean, he's played every single position except the interior lines of his high school career. Wide receiver, even cornerback, safety on defense. And a guy, Chris Olsen, says he does everything you need to win the game, and you need guys like that. Olsen on a 3rd down and 4. Spreads it out, now in the gun. And the rollout. Now lobs it back of the end zone, and Dreesy couldn't reach it. Dreesy goes about 5'11", needed to be 6'4".
And but Kevin Olsen made a good decision. He wasn't good. They're in a position to score points here, and he wanted to make sure that either his receiver was going to catch the ball or nobody was going to catch the ball. So he threw it high, and it just was unfortunately too out of the reach of the receiver.
The kicker is also Mike Dreesy. He's got 4 field goals this year, and pretty good on point afters in terms of percentage. It's Olsen that comes back out onto the field. Dreesy splits out wide, and the Patriots are going to line up to go for it. 4th and 4. The screen, Dreesy inside the 5. He's got the 1st down.
That is a gutsy call there. He had an opportunity for points. He had a lot of confidence in his offense, especially the sophomore quarterback, who's also his son, and they convert, and now they got a 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line.
And now the Patriots, who have not used Dowling before that huge run, or rather after that huge run, they went to Zaffino on the ground. And the Golden Knights, not organized, it appears, will use a timeout here with 8:28 to go in the second. So we'll pause as well from the Group 3 state championship game. This is the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1 presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. Hey, if you want to help your school or any 501c nonprofit group or organization raise funds easily with no direct selling, you can enroll them in the Verizon Velocity fundraising program, and Verizon will make donations when you order new qualifying Verizon products. Your nonprofit can get up to $65 for every new Verizon Triple Play order. To learn more, you can visit them at verizon.com/velocity. Joining you inside the brand new Meadowlands, this is the first season of New Jersey High School State Playoffs being played here. They were always played over at the old Giant Stadium with Rich Matarante, Jillian Jessica on the field, Ralph Bednarczyk. 1st and goal from the 4 for the Patriots. It's Dowling that gets the call, and as he has his entire career, he plunges for another touchdown from 4 yards out, his 73rd in his brilliant career.
And that was all Brian Dowling. He was stopped at the line of scrimmage, and as he's been doing all game, just never gave up, kept his legs driving, pushed the pile into the end zone, scored a touchdown.
For Dowling, he's also their all-time career all-purpose yards holder. 3-year starter on both sides of the football. Returns the kicks, anything you ask him to, and then produces. Bad snap. Dreesy, though, able to stay with it and put it through. 7-0. Wayne Hills out early. What's been more impressive so far, their offense or their defense and what they've been able to do containing Old Tappan?
Well, their offense has been, I don't know if it was surprising, but they've driven the ball, they've run hard, they're not going down on first contact. But on the other hand, the fact that so far they've played about a quarter and almost a half, and they've really so far contained Devin Fuller, that's been pretty impressive as well. So right now, offensively and defensively, Wayne Hills is going on all cylinders.
They go 70 yards in 3 minutes, 16 seconds. You're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1's presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. Fuller also back deep to receive the kick. He is on every special teams, in case anybody has not noticed. And with good reason, athletes like this just don't walk through the hallways of your high school often.
Nope. And every time he touches the ball, he's a threat to break it.
Dreesen with a nice kickoff, bobbled momentarily by Jeff Pinelli. He grabs it from his own 2. Flag down as Pinelli is stopped shy of the 20 and will assess the call. And the Golden Knights might be backed up even a little bit more. They've hurt themselves with a couple of mistakes so far in this first half.
And I think part of Wayne Hill's game plan also is to kick the ball away from Fuller. They've had a couple kickoffs now, and neither one has been in the direction of Devin Fuller.
Here's our referee, Dennis Koch, who wears sunglasses at night. Holding is the call. We know the lights are bright in here, but Rich, how often when you referee you wear sunglasses at night? Not often, right?
The next time will be my first.
Okay. Just in case it's not a trend that I haven't noticed among officials yet.
No, we try to stay up below the radar.
Right. From the 9-yard line, it'll be 1st and 10. Wayne Hills, look at that total yards number, 112 to 36. And the penalty number for Old Tappan has hurt them too.
Absolutely. 36 yards of offense in a quarter and a half. That's usually, the first play of the game for Devin Fuller.
And each team, a couple of penalties for 20 yards. And Fuller staying in the shotgun. He'll keep it himself, lost the ball. The Patriots claim they have it, and they absolutely do. Fuller took a shot from below and lost the ball.
Wow, that defensive line got penetration on the offensive line there. That was another thing we talked about in the beginning of the game, is controlling the line of scrimmage. And right now, the Wayne Hills is controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
It looked like Matt Greenfield applied the pop. He is second on the team with 8 sacks, and Greenfield is at least the one celebrating the most there, which is not a statistic. But in any event, is the ball at the 7-yard line, 1st and goal for the Patriots in a pivotal moment here in this state championship game. It's Dowling back into Fuller. Dowling plows through, and he is shy of the goal line.
But again, contact was made at around the 5-yard line, and he willed himself to almost scoring again, and he's got them inside the 1-yard line. He does not go down on first contact.
Second turnover of the night for the Golden Knights. Looks like it's going to hurt them. Dowling got the call the last time. Everybody on the far side of the building, I think, won't need a text message to know this next call. It's Dowling, and he's got the touchdown.
Nope.
He continues to fight for it, and it looked like he was absolutely in. Well, that is really difficult to spot from here how he's not in, but I guess the entire body but the ball was in.
Yep, the ball has to cross that line. Let's see the replay. Tough spot for the officials. There's a lot of bodies in between them and the ball.
A timeout here by Wayne Hills. This is a 3rd down and inches situation here. And for Chris Olson, I can't imagine this being anything more than just making sure they don't fumble the ball in the center exchange.
Right, you don't want to give the ball back. You're threatening to score, go up by 2 scores. The last thing you want here is to turn the ball over.
And for the Golden Knights, it's a 3rd down and goal. Spot where if they fall behind 14 points, it's not the end of the world. They can put up points in a hurry, with Fuller averaging 42 points a game and 475 yards total. But they're in a different type of ball game here, and the Patriots have played these kinds of teams before.
Yep.
And there is a certain aura about this Patriots team when you research them and talk to Coach Chris Olson. There is a certain level of expectation when they play in these big games.
You don't get to 13 out of the last 14 years in the finals and not play every type of competition you can have. And it looks like we're going to have a false start.
Well, following the timeout, and this is the absolute last thing that Chris Olson thought he'd seen.
And now makes it from a 3rd and inches to a 3rd and 5. 3rd and goal from the 5.
They're 0 for 3 on third downs, all the Patriots. They went for it on fourth down in the last trip here. And the timeout almost seemed like it slowed down the Patriots' momentum there. It almost took a little bit out of their rhythm.
Yep. Offense, a lot of offense is rhythm, and that may have been exactly the case there.
Full house backfield. Hogan and Massey in front of Dowling. He takes the Wildcat and he walks in untouched. Well, I don't know if that was in the timeout discussion, but they executed it. And Brian Dowling has 2 first-half touchdowns in this Group 3 state championship game, and the Patriots are out 13-0.
Dowling's off to a pretty good start. 2 touchdowns in the first quarter and a half. He's now given Wayne Hills a 2-touchdown lead.
So they capitalize following the Fuller fumble. Mike Dreesy, point after. $14-0 Wayne Hills. So a year after just scoring, for Patriots standards, an absurdly low number of just 8 points in their loss last year to Ramapo, they're already up to 2 scores here.
Well, in this play, he's got his 2 protectors in front of him. He takes the ball, he runs right behind both his backs, who opened up the hole for him, and Dowling took the direct snap from the center in a Wildcat formation and was able to score a touchdown.
Dowling putting up staggering numbers once again. Last year he had 27 total touchdowns. And he'll have a nice career over at UMass. He set a school record as well with 46 carries against Ramapo on October 29th in a rivalry game that Wayne Hills was able to pull out, playing for the first time since they lost in the state finals. You knew Chris Olson wanted that game badly for his kids, and they only have to go 3 plays, 7 yards in just over a minute and a half to do it following the costly error by Fuller.
Turnovers will kill you.
And Dreesy to kick off, and the Golden Knights will have to regroup sooner rather than later. Pinelli. Pinelli finds an alley. And across the 40, and that's a good way to start thinking about bouncing back for Old Tappan.
On that kickoff, kicking away from Fuller didn't necessarily help them. Pinelli got a good return, good blocking, including Fuller up in front, and was able to get a real good return.
He picks up 41 yards. And now Fuller, who we've seen him dance a little bit here, Rich, in this first half. Have this step back, fake run, pass the football. We've seen a different kinds of things. But he's got so many different interesting targets that he hasn't used much tonight, like Keith Rodman in the middle, Drew Martinez in the outside, and Pinelli. And Fuller so far in this first half has tried to do it all by himself, which he could be very well capable of as he grabs 3 yards here. But we were reminded of this sort of in another game played here at the New Meadowlands between Montclair and Randolph, that the other version of Devin Fuller, as you take a look at the run there, the other version of Devin Fuller and Khalif Herbin for Montclair kind of did the same thing, and that did not work.
No, and they've got to be careful of getting into a situation where he is the offense. Fuller left, Fuller right. They got to spread the ball around, get all their playmakers involved, get everybody into the game, and get their offense moving.
And after a promising opening series with a couple of first downs, a penalty wiped out a first down, then an interception. Now Fuller with a jump pass over the middle, and the pass could not be hauled in. He's been looking for his favorite target tonight. Again, Dale Veselski to bring that one in.
This pass was a little bit behind his receiver. He tried to step up, make it look like a run, draw the linebackers in, and then hit the tight end behind the linebackers, but he just got the ball a little bit behind them. Otherwise, that would have been a big play.
So a 3rd down and 7. You know, he admires a really interesting guy. Not the, you know, he wears number 7. You think of Michael Vick or somebody like that, but he admires Steelers quarterback Dennis Dixon the most, a former Oregon product that at one time in the preseason looked like he could be the Steelers starter for the majority of the season. Fuller will now be wrapped up and on the design draw. He is stopped on a 3rd down and 7.
And it almost looked like the defense held the second wave of rushers there. He steps back. It's a design draw. He steps through the first 2 guys, and then there's a second wall of defenders there waiting for him. There, as you can see, they came up, hit their blockers, and then just kind of held their ground, waiting to see what Fuller was going to do.
Matt Greenfield, the first one to nab him. On the return, this is Andrew Monahan, a junior. Second brother in his family to play at Wayne Hills. His older brother, Brendan, was the former starting quarterback with Greg Olson as his tight end. Later on, went on to play baseball at St. John's.
Say hello to George.
So coming up with the Patriots with possession again here as we approach the late stages of the first half. Fans, we remind you, you can enroll in the Verizon Share the Network program, and you and every person you refer to Verizon can get up to $50 a piece, so everybody wins. Earn up to $600 in rewards a year, including reward card goods at hundreds of top-name retailers where American Express cards are welcome. It's a win-win situation. Your friend gets the entertainment, power, and reliability of the network, and you both get rewarded. The Verizon Share the Network program. You can enroll today at sharethenetwork.com/7. Dowling pushes the pile, and the forward progress will give him about 3.
That play looked like a rugby scrum. Those are tough plays when there's a guy with the ball and he's surrounded by half his offense and half the defense, and you don't know where he is or when his forward progress is stopped. That's a tough play to officiate. But on that play, he hesitated. He waited to see where his blockers were going to go and where the hole was going to be, and then was able to get through that hole for a couple of yards.
They gave him 3, 2nd and 7 from the 32. Olson on a broken play keeps it. A flag down, and he forces his way outside. He's bumped out of bounds by Andrew Dobish, but we get a flag behind the play. Olson looked like he just missed the handoff.
Yeah, but I think what we're going to see is I think we're going to have a hold. I thought it was going to be a hold. Yeah, it was the blocker that was trying to hold the block for Olson to get around.
And Wayne Hills, after a clean start, now with 4 penalties. The 2 by Old Tappan have been coming at bad times for them during their series. So that'll change the dynamic of this drive with just over 4 minutes to go before halftime. And Dowling, the story in the first half, with 2 touchdowns, up to 74 for his career. And not even in losses he's been contained. In Wayne Hill's lone loss this season, St. Joe's Montvale, he had 14 carries, 2 scores, and Dowling takes it to the outside and has room and a big pickup. It's him and Fuller, and they both collide inside the 40. So following the penalty or not, that's one way to change field position again.
That's a huge play for their offense. He takes the snap, gets the handoff from Olson right up the middle. The offense is opening gaping holes between the tackles, and then he does the rest. He gets his speed, gets around the corner, and there's no one there except for Fuller to knock him out of bounds.
And Dowling with that run of 39 yards over the century mark, 114 yards, and now a flag thrown.
Sideline warning.
And that came very quickly prior to the huddle even being established there, Rich.
Yeah, what that is that the players and coaching staff on their sideline are pushing out too far towards the field. There was a point of emphasis this year to keep the players and coaches back, to allow A, the officials the room to work up and down the sideline, and B, prevent potential injuries for runners that might hit a defenseless player that's standing on the sideline.
A first down for the Patriots, and a score right here would really make the outcome bleak for Old Tappan. This is Zafino, and he couldn't quite get the same kind of acceleration he got on the last series.
Yeah, they looked like they were a little bit out of sync there. He looked like Olsen thought he was going to come on his right, and he ended up coming on his left. It didn't look like the exchange between Olsen and Zafino was clean.
Second down and 9. Wayne Hills back in the Group 3 final in their lone loss back on November 6th. They even had the 14-0 lead. They gave up 35 unanswered. And you know it's a game etched in the memory of Chris Olsen. They had that halftime lead of 14-0 and were unfortunately heartbroken that day, looking for another undefeated season as we get another flag down. Well, Dennis Koch, he waited for the last game of the night, and they're making him work. Illegal shift.
Usually when you see the official throw the flag to the offensive side of the ball, that usually means it's a foul on the offense. If they throw it to the defensive side of the ball, it usually means it's a foul on the defense, and usually those are encroachments, offsides, false starts, motions, and shifts.
Well, the Golden Knights will refuse the 5 yards. They'll rather deal with a 3rd down and 6 rather than what would have been a 2nd down and 11.
Well, I get maybe because on the last 2nd and 20, they were able to convert it.
Right. I guess Wayne Hills has cornered the market on that play. Or they just have Dowling. Stays in bounds, roughed up at the end of the play. But it's going to be a 4th down and very short, and Chris Olsen will have to think about what to do here. He has 1 timeout left. It'll be a 4th down and about 2.
This was a backwards pass by Dowling, and again, second effort, gets an extra couple yards just to make this more of a difficult decision for Coach Olsen. He's gone for it already twice today, and it looks like he's going to do it again.
Olsen returns. He has not had to throw it much, but he has seen state championship games going back to when he can barely walk, with his father and his mother, who is now in recovery 9 years following remission from cancer, and now they'll spend their final time out. So a big 4th and 2 to ponder for the Patriots. We'll come back with less than 3 minutes to go. The Patriots over the Golden Knights in the Group 3 championship game as you're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, Verizon FIOS 1 presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. Over Old Tappan here, it's a 4th and 2 late in the first half. Olsen will roll out. Throws on the move, in the air for Dreesy, and Fuller got the left hand on it.
That's another good play by Fuller on the defensive side. Closed in, got his hand up, knocked the ball down on what would have been a 4th down conversion.
So a big stop before the half, at least for the moment, for the Golden Knights, as they'll get to put out a 2-minute offense and try to get on the scoreboard and change the complexion and the momentum, frankly, of this game that has been largely in the favor of Wayne Hills really after the first 2 plays of the game. That was all the momentum that the Golden Knights had. After that, a penalty, an interception, and it has been one-sided.
Fuller has yet to break out on offense. He's made a couple good plays on defense, and now he's got to start working his magic on the offensive side.
Well, this rare talent is going to be talked about all year next year, hoping to have a state championship, and this was batted in the air and nearly picked off. 2 different Patriots had opportunities at it.
And he had a receiver open down the middle of the field, and he was trying to get the ball to him, and the ball, he just didn't have enough height underneath the ball, and it was knocked down.
It'll be a 2nd and 10, and Devin Fuller already with a couple of turnovers in this game. Could have been another devastating one. Wayne Hills has capitalized with 7 points off those turnovers after his early second quarter fumble. He'll go to the single wing and take it himself. And after some mixed success with this early in the ball game, Wayne Hills has been able to smother this. Rich, what have they been able to do, if anything, different?
Well, they're going to have to diversify their offense a little bit. He's thrown a couple passes, but really it's been all Devin Fuller, and right now it looks like Wayne Hills is pinning their ears back and just concentrating on Devin Fuller.
And his rushing totals, which looked gaudy earlier, have been limited to just a 2.5 per carry, 11 for 26 with the fumble. And the 13 passing yards, of course, is different in high school sports with the sacks, with the yards being taken off the rushing. And the 2 sacks have been minus 18 versus in college, the sacks come off the passing like in the NFL. And the Golden Knights with 1:58 to go here in the second quarter. They'll spend another timeout. And they have 1 left to burn here, a 3rd down and 7 spot. And for Brian Dunn, you know, you go through a whole season, you play in a lot of shootouts, you have your way all year long in moving the football up and down. And as a coach, as somebody involved in sports, you know, this is going to be a different thing for him. At least he hasn't experienced this in some time.
No, and again, he's going to have to go in the halftime and make some adjustments on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they're playing okay. A lot of the yardage has been after first contact, which means the defense is getting to the ball carriers, but the sheer will of the ball carriers allowing them to pick up extra yards or in some cases some big yards. They still got 2 minutes to go here in the half. They still have a timeout. It would be a real big momentum swing if they were able to get a good drive and end up scoring at the end of the half here.
Fuller, chase from the backside, completes. He got the first down, and he fired a strike complete to his leading receiver, Drew Martinez.
He bought time, rolling out. Again, waited for his receiver to try to get open. They were containing. They were not putting a heavy rush on because they didn't want him to break out and run with the ball, but he waited and waited, and Martinez finally got open and he hit him.
Martinez, he might be a college tight end at the next level. Just a 3rd first down for Old Tappan, and their first 2 came early. Fuller now looking long for his tight end, and that one broken up and knocked away. Great coverage, but it was thrown into 2 different players. Dale Veselski is tight end, again the intended target. Monahan applied the coverage with Eugene Lowe, the nickelback.
The safety on that play, Eugene Lowe, really was able to get over and make the play. He's nowhere near the play when the ball is released, and he just closes in and makes the good defensive play.
A 2nd and 10. Still with 1 timeout left for Northern Valley. Old Tappan. Seeking their first state title since 1985. And they'll have to do it in come from behind fashion. Fuller, and a pass batted away and knocked down. That was Dowling blitzing off the edge.
Wow, he was able to come in untouched off the edge and got some good verticality by knocking that ball down. That's one of the first plays that looked like it was just a straight drop back throw. No fooling around for Fuller there. He just dropped back, looking for a receiver, threw it, and Dowling got up real high to knock that ball down.
Just 46 total yards for Old Tappan. Let me reiterate what they come in averaging per game. 475, including 317 rushing per game. So that's about a 15% clip. Fuller looking long. He's got a wide open man, and it's his senior Pinelli. He's got it, and Jeff Pinelli is to the 10. And the first big play made by the Golden Knights, 42 yards.
Well, not sure how he got that wide open. They looked like they had Fuller contained. He was able to stop, head back towards his right, and uncork a bomb right on target. It almost looked like they were going to knock the ball away, but he was able to get up above the defenders and make the catch. It does appear that Wayne Hills is looking defensively to not rush, stay back, and read what Fuller's going to do. May have cost him on that play.
Fuller this time will have to run for his life again. Backs it up, and he's going to complete. However, it is a loss of about 3 or 4 yards. It's a catch again for Veselski, and Fuller did well to avoid the sack.
And he may have been better off throwing that ball into the out of bounds. It is a 3-yard loss. It could have been about an 18-yard loss, 20-yard loss. So it was good that he was able to get the ball away, but maybe just heaving that out of bounds preserve the 3 yards.
First time in the red zone for the Golden Knights. This is familiar territory for them. Fuller faked the handoff, and he is going to walk in. Everybody bit for the fake, and the Golden Knights have broken through with a late touchdown. An 11-yard run option for Devin Fuller, his 51st touchdown of the season. And Old Tappan right back in the ball game.
Well, I will say, I think I was probably one of the several ones that got caught by that fake. It was a real convincing play fake. Influenced the defense in that direction, opened up a big hole, and he was able to take it in and score. Could be a big momentum shift here.
Fuller as a runner with his 32nd touchdown. As a runner, he has 2,200 yards in 11 games. This is senior Joe Rizzo. Takes care of the extra point, 14-7. And how quickly this ball game got changed. Let's see if the camera guys were able to stay with it too.
Well, they put the runner in motion. He puts it in, takes it out, and yeah, add the cameraman to the list along with me. But it didn't stop Fuller. Fuller was able to take it in. And we got a football game now.
Wayne Hills with no timeouts left, and what a key juncture that was. Rich, just a few minutes ago, some third down and long situations, 9 plays, 64 yards and 212. But Fuller and the offense able to get the football back. Otherwise, the Patriots were looking at walking into a 21-0 halftime locker room.
Yep, and to go 64 yards in just 2 minutes shows the quick strike ability of Old Tappan, and I think the second half is going to be a shootout.
And before that drive, which went 64 yards, the Golden Knights were looking at 33 total yards. A far cry from what they're used to on a daily basis. This is not their usual standard of living. Rizzo, a little pop-up short one, and very wisely, Wayne Hills will sit on it.
Smart play. Took a shot for the onside kick, little pooch kick. Smart play by the Wayne Hills receiver, catching the ball, going right to his knee. Didn't give Old Tappan an opportunity to hit him, knock the ball out, and maybe come up with it.
Yeah, great play, great heads up by Eugene Lowe. Tonight, if you think about taking the punishment, and kind of an in-between spot there. So Olsen may be content to run the clock out, but he does have Dowling at his disposal, and he is tripped up maybe by the 48-yard line. He is shy of the first down, just kind of lost his balance.
Yeah, it didn't look like a defender got a hand on him. It looked like he was tackled down by the 48-yard line.
Dowling's been the offensive leader tonight for Wayne Hills with 2 touchdowns, 130 yards. And Olsen will play action to him. They don't want to go into the locker room up just by 7, and they complete a deep ball. in play with just 2 seconds showing on the clock. It's going to be first and goal as Dreese hauled it in.
The question now is, was he out of bounds or they'd stop the clock for the first down? Great play fake by Olsen. Goes deep. The defender's there. But a great catch by the receiver. And the clock is going to run. And I don't know if they're going to get that off.
Chris Olsen on the far sideline. He had a good angle on it. He felt the ball was out of bounds.
And that's the difference. If he's out of bounds, the clock wouldn't start till the snap. If they viewed it as inbounds, and they're putting the 2 seconds back on the clock. If they ruled that he was inbounds, then the clock would start when the referee signals the ball ready for play.
So Dreese is going to kick the field goal here. It's going to be spotted from about the 16-yard line. Eugene Lowe is the holder, make it the 17. From 27 yards to complete the half. Dreese, the senior, comes through. And Wayne Hills tacks on an important 3 to head into the locker room. 17-7, Wayne Hills looking for another state title. And they have held Devin Fuller and the Golden Knights in check so far. We'll come back with halftime highlights and stats. Wayne Hills seeking another Group 3 title, leading by 10 as you watch the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1 presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. Wayne Hills a 10-point lead over Old Tappan in the North 1 Group 3 state championship game at the New Meadowlands. We're back here at halftime. Let's jump into the first half highlights. There's kind of a tug of war early on, but then Brian Dowling got going.
Brian Dowling put the team on his back to get them started. Would not be denied the end zone. Second effort, kept driving. Then on the second touchdown, they went to sort of a gimmicky play. They went into the Wildcat offense. Dowling took the snap directly from the center. His 2 backs lead him in, and he goes untouched into the end zone. Then, on a play where we thought they were going to just kind of look to run the ball to run out the clock, he breaks a long one down and goes for about 40 yards, where he meets his counterpart on the other side, Fuller, and Fuller knocks him out of bounds. On this play, great fake, great play action by Fuller. Fooled everybody on this play, including me, and everybody thought that he had handed the ball off, and Fuller takes the ball the other direction and goes untouched into the end zone.
But before the end of the half, Wayne Hills did not settle for just a 7-point lead.
Yeah, again, the sophomore quarterback with ice water in his veins, just unloaded one, a perfect pass, put them in position for that half-ending field goal.
And look at the total yards. Old Tappan, again, we're going to say it again. They come in averaging 475 total yards, just 104 through the first half, and just at times looked like an average team offensively.
Yeah, 41 yards rushing on a team that averaged over 300 yards rushing. Obviously, Wayne Hills put together a scheme that was perfect for this game. Again, both coaches are in their locker rooms now making adjustments. We're going to see who comes out and who's made the better adjustments. But look for Fuller to run the ball with a little more effectiveness in the second half. And I think you may even see him start throwing the ball a little bit more.
For Old Tappan, there's always that potential for them to explode. And for Wayne Hills, their only loss this season, they blew a halftime lead of 10 points. We'll come back for the second half. The Patriots looking for another state championship in their illustrious history. You're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1 presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. Third quarter just about set to get underway at the New Meadowlands, where Wayne Hills right now leads Old Tappan in this North 1 Group 3 state championship game by 10. Ralph Bednarczyk with Rich Matarante as we take a look and revisit our Verizon 411 keys to the ball game, see how we're doing.
Well, Old Tappan has not really been winning the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line has not opened any holes for Fuller. They haven't also been able to key on Dowling. He had a big first half. On the other hand, Wayne Hills wanted to hit Fuller, and they did, forcing a fumble and an interception. And they haven't avoided the turnovers, but so far they're winning the turnover war 2-1, and they've turned one of the Old Tappan turnovers into a score. So the keys of the game have lived up to their billing, and we'll see what the second half holds.
And now let's check in with Jillian Jesk on the field.
Thanks, guys. I talked to Wayne Hill's coach, Chris Olson, and he said his team's playing really well, but not everybody's listening. And if guys aren't going to do what they're told, they won't score again. On the other hand, I talked to Old Tappan's coach, Brian Dunn, who said his team started off a little cautious, played a little bit tight, and he still feels that way. So they need to be more aggressive, let loose if they want to do good in this second half. Back to you guys.
Well, that's probably a good indicator. I'm not sure what Chris Olson meant by his team's not listening. They look like they were following the game plan to a T, and they're playing with a lot of heart and a lot of guts. The fact that that Old Tappan may have been tight may have been the reason why Fuller's had a hard time breaking out in the first half.
Wayne Hills following their last second field goal to close out the first half. They're going to get the ball back.
Well, whatever momentum Old Tappan may have had by scoring that touchdown late may have been overturned by that late field goal.
Rizzo, this time kind of an in-between chip shot, and it's picked up by Nick Massey, their starting fullback, and he carries around the right side and a nice gain to the 39-yard line. That's two straight times that Old Tappan has kind of given away easy field position with a couple of kind of just pop-up kicks kind of in between something they'd go for and just allowing the 40-yard line.
Makes you wonder if they're attempting to keep the ball away from the deep receivers of Wayne Hills because of their breakaway ability.
So here's Olson. A quiet first half for him, a loud one for Dowling, and he gets it going with noise near the 38. But he is wrapped up and silenced by Drew Martinez. That's a loss of 1.
Well, it's going to be a long second half, but this is a good start to it by Old Tappan's defense. First play that they've been able to hold Brian Dowling to negative yardage.
In terms of perspective, Old Tappan has trailed at half in both of the last 2 games, including their rivalry game against Demarest. As the ball by Olson fired outside and the completion made. Again, it's Dries. And again, Dries breaks a pair of tackles and he's to the 36-yard line. And check that. That's actually the other receiver, Troy Zaffino, who is now slow to get up.
And in what has been a pattern all day long, the first hit does not take him down. Zaffino gets away from the first tackler. He then breaks a second tackle, gets a few extra yards before he goes down. They've had a lot of extra yardage after contact.
Troy Zaffino, first-year starting wide receiver, has had a nice year. Nearly 300 yards receiving. His return guy, a couple of rushing touchdowns too, a couple of receiving. First-team all-conference as a defensive back. And if he were to exit, they would sure miss him, because he and Dreesy, they both look alike, and at 20 to 28, they kind of play alike as well. Dowling, then he is pushed forward and takes the physical punishment inside the 30, and Wayne Hills is already threatening here, and we have not yet played 2 minutes into the third.
And they had the first play was a negative play, and now 2 pretty big positive plays that follow that up. Good sign for Wayne Hills here in the second half. Again, a nice hard run by Dowling, dragging people for close to 6-7 yards.
I'll call it 2nd and 2. Olson, they went to Dowling again, but this time the play blown dead and some fisticuffs following the flag tossed. Now referee Dennis Koch was extremely busy with the yellow flag in the first. False start, Patriots will set him back 5. So a 2nd and 7. And already up to 6 penalties for Wayne Hills all of the smaller variety, but it's thwarted a couple of longer drives materializing.
Well, they haven't let them affect them too much, but they can't continue to have penalties. It's hard to overcome penalties throughout a game.
The replacement for Zaffino is junior Andrew Monahan outside number 1. And they go near side, and that's who they exactly connect with. Monahan the catch, and he picks up just about a yard though. He is their top return man all conference this year, and again the second from his family to play for Coach Chris Olson.
A nice layout for him too. He had a dive to make that catch. Very good catch for him.
No sign of Zaffino on the field. Adrisi back in the ball game as a split end. A 3rd and 5. Olson, and he's able to connect. First down pickup. A stiff arm inside the 10-yard line, and Wayne Hills with Mike Dreese continues this opening possession of the half.
Well, the defense dropped back into a zone, and Dreese was able to cut in front of the zone and find an open spot, sit down, and wait for Olson to find him. Perfect throw, and they've come out throwing the ball a little more in the second half.
Dreese, his older brother Ronnie, won a state title as a key running back in 2008. He's got 51 yards receiving, trying to add some more trophies to the family mantle. This is Dowling and a Wildcat for 3 more.
That's the play they ran in the first half, scored a touchdown on. Again, able to gain positive yards. I kind of like the looks of that play.
I think Dowling likes 2. He's got a touchdown. He's got 2 for the game. One of them coming off of that play. And now with the ball spotted at the 6, a 2nd down and goal. The Golden Knights were able to hold on midway through the second quarter. They got themselves back within 14-7, but gave up the long pass down the sideline to Dreese before the end of the half, leading to the field goal. Here's Olson for the end zone, and it was batted down. Big pressure came up the middle.
Yeah, they got pressure, they got some penetration, and the big guy got his hands up and batted the ball down.
3rd and goal. Wayne Hills also in a similar situation, used some timeouts and a long time to think about it last time here.
Well, you can see they tried to hold the linebackers up with the play action, but it didn't fool the Old Tappan defense.
And it was Martinez, great blitzer, as the outside linebacker that had the knockdown. A 3rd and goal. The Patriots just 1 of 6 on 3rd down. That one was a touchdown. It won't be this one. And Dowling, with that play going nowhere, is stuffed. He's pushed backwards, and more red zone issues for the Patriots. Jeff Pinelli, this time off the edge.
That play didn't really have much of success from the start. Olson had the ball. He was rolling out. It was an option play. He had nowhere to run. He pitched it back. There were 2 defenders waiting for Dowling, and really there was not much chance of success on that play.
So it'll be Dreese that allowed this drive to continue with the big 3rd down catch. We'll try here from 30. Low the holder. Dreese. And he missed it. Off to the right, he got good distance on it. And again, Old Tappan, despite their issues and their defense being taken down the field, is still in the ball game.
Yeah, that's a big stop for them to come away with no points for Wayne Hills. Now we'll see what they can do on offense.
And we'll find out about their adjustments for 11th year coach Brian Dunn, taking this team deep into the playoffs, the deepest they've been in many years, seeking another state championship, the first since 1985. And that 1985 team, at least around the New Jersey area, people will take some interest in, as Fuller off the left side just picks up a pair. In 1985, Cory Booker was the star of Old Tappan. He is now the mayor of Newark. He attended Stanford, so that is certainly somebody, at least small celebrity. But Brian Dunn saying during the week, people around town being really excited about this championship game, kind of day to day, hour to hour, and they really enjoy watching this team. They went 7-3 last year. They lost to Wayne Hills in the first round of the playoffs, and they still piled up points even with Fuller as a sophomore starting, 31 points. They gave up 16, so their defense wasn't as stout, nor was their offense. Fuller picks up a first.
Fuller right, Fuller left, first down.
So it appears not much has changed there. But this team gained confidence last year. They defeated Ramapo, who eventually won the whole thing, knocking off this Wayne Hills team in this very competitive Group 3. They beat Mawa 2 and Paramus Catholic, so they've been on the verge of really getting the big win.
Well, and with an 11-win season this year, it looks like they may have turned the corner. Coach Dunn.
And they owe a lot of that to this guy, Devin Fuller, who really hit the weight room with a vengeance this summer. Hit his legs on the machine and the field to throw passes to his father, Bart, who was an assistant coach again with his Old Tappan team that played at TCU. And you better believe now the Horned Frogs are already have come calling, since now they've joined the Big East Conference for Devin Fuller's services.
Well, so far that their offense in the second half has been all Fuller. And the good news for Coach Dunn and the Old Tappan Golden Knights is that he's coming back for another year.
Yeah, can you imagine what he is going to be with another year of growth? Right now, he's 6 foot 185. And he's said to be a really solid kid. As we told you, he's really hardworking. Both parents being involved in the show business and coaching and understand what it takes to really make it in something a little different than the 9-to-5 world. Fuller, and he pulled it down. I don't think he liked the read on the outside, and instead he's going to take a sack.
Well, we've seen him early fake a run and then throw the ball. This one, it looked like he faked a pass and ran the ball. Lost a couple of yards on that, and it brings up a 3rd and long.
3rd and 11. We come up under 4.5 to play. And for Old Tappan, while they've made big plays today, just 2 of 7 on 3rd downs. And he's receiving crew. Martinez, Pinelli, Dobish have not been involved as much as I think the Golden Knights coaching staff would like. Blitz is on. Fuller beats it. Fuller darts through, but they made him pull it down, and that might have been the entire premise to begin with. It'll be a 4th and long.
Yeah, it looked like it was a called draw. And again, Wayne Hills got penetration on the outside, but it looked like they kept their defensive tackles and linebackers holding to see what Fuller was going to do. You see the pressure coming from the outside, but the 2 defensive linemen kind of held their ground and then waited for the linebackers to come up and make the hit.
So in punt formation, they get Fuller off the field. Drew Martinez to punt. And Dowling over the shoulder will make the catch. And Brian Dowling breaks a couple of tackles, surges ahead, and he's near midfield to the 43. And Wayne Hills, after missing a 30-yard field goal during the last series, again will have good field position, trying to add to this.
You can see on this, he has to go back to make the catch. But then he comes up and puts up a couple good juke moves and gets away from the defenders, and then he's just looking for open field to take it, and he takes it straight up the middle before he's brought down. Good move early on in the return.
He's also part of his staggering numbers, averaging 18 yards as a punt returner this year. As a ball carrier, not bad either. And grabs about 5 there on 1st down. You remember back with the UMass impact in New Jersey as we take a look at this play.
Yep, it's basically the one we've seen pretty much all whole game, and once again, fights off first contact and gains an extra couple of yards.
Dowling could be the next in line of a kind of a UMass guy, a little under the radar. First it was Marcel Shipp, I believe out of the Patterson area here in Jersey. As off the left side, Dowling didn't get it there, but Marcel Shipp eventually winning a national championship with Mark Whipple with the Minutemen in '98. And then Victor Cruz of late with the New York Giants, just on this field in preseason. Again, put UMass football into the papers. Victor Cruz, unfortunately, on injured reserve for the season, but he had a coming out party, maybe the best preseason of any wide receiver in the NFL this year. And Cruz, another UMass guy from Patterson, too. And Dowling hoping to be kind of the next good UMass New Jersey star.
I thought they had, and I think they had a lineman as well. UMass has put some guys into the NFL.
There's a first down catch on the perimeter. That's Zaffino back and looking healthy in the ball game. So 5'9", maybe generously, Troy Zaffino with great hands hauls it in.
And then more importantly, they keep the chains moving and the clock rolling.
Coming up on 2 minutes to play, third quarter. And a game thought to be a shootout. Wayne Hills has played it at their pace. Olsen tonight has been about 50% at 7 of 13, but the ball came out at the end. And no ruling yet. And it's Golden Knights possession. They rule a fumble. Martinez comes away with the recovery.
That's a very big turnover. Wayne Hills was starting to build a lot of momentum behind that drive, taking chunks of time off the clock. Ball comes loose. Recovered by
Rich.
Well, could have been
NFL.
down. Could have been down. Might have had, if they had replay in high school, it may have been challenged.
Well, they can't throw a yellow red flag here. Chris Olsen can maybe just throw a water bottle. A break for the Golden Knights. They sure needed it. Second Wayne Hills turnover.
Did they rule him down?
And credit Dennis Koch for having, I guess, a photographic memory to overturn it. Wow. Well, with these new facilities, we should mention here at the brand new Meadowlands that our broadcasts are also being streamed all over the place. And perhaps Dennis Koch had to sneak a peek. And now a flag being thrown on the near sideline, and Brian Dunn is irate, I would think, probably because of the reversal.
Yeah, maybe they took a peek at the Jumbotron and got a better look at it, but even still, you got to maintain your composure. You can't give away free yards. This is going to give Wayne Hills a first down.
Well, they just said offense, and it is on the defense. So, Brian Dunn knows this game is being played on a Saturday, and I think that's what he's upset, that there might have been some protocol in the gray area that Dennis Koch decided to deliberate. So this is a big chunk that takes the ball now to the 25-yard line.
A big turn of events. Old Tappan went from having the ball on a turnover to not having the ball, and now adding 15 yards to the end of this play.
I think Brian Dunn has a tremendous case.
It didn't look like the right call there. It's hard for me to pick on my fellow officials, but he might have an argument on that one.
Well, either way, the Golden Knights are going to have to regroup and come up with the stop. They got one on Wayne Hill's first possession of this third quarter, and they've been able to hang in and stay within 10 points despite Dowling and the offense having a good night. Low in motion, they toss to Dowling, and he's got room on the sweep. And Dowling will punish along the way, out of bounds, and he is very close to a first down, about a yard shy.
It's important now for Old Tappan to get a stop here. They can't let that change in the call and the additional 15-yard penalty affect them. They need to put that behind them now and make a stop.
And the conversation, meanwhile, behind the play continues with Brian Dunn and Dennis Koch. Well, he's seen his offense stall to just 7 points tonight. That may be part of the frustration if the score was a little different, but a tough one to swallow in any event. This is Dowling, already with 152 yards, and now he's creeping forward towards his 3rd touchdown of the night. He stopped just inside the 2.
And if you look, he starts to his right, finds the hole back towards his left, cuts back through the hole, and that one's going to come back. We got a holding.
Holding is now the call against Wayne Hills. Well, in terms of all the state championships here at the Meadowlands, this has been by far the most penalized.
Yeah, but usually by this point in the season, the teams have cleaned up a lot of the line play. You don't get a lot of sloppy fouls. We're getting a lot of penalties in this game, and so far it's hurting Wayne Hills. They've been heavily penalized today.
So that takes them out of a 1st and goal. Olsen motions Downing, and why not go back to him, try the other side. He gets the kick out from Hogan, and then he tiptoes forward. He slipped past Fuller, and he'll just grab a large chunk of it back. So the down and distance boys there have had a lot of walking to do. That's going to be spotted outside the 16, and they're going to say they're not going to move the chains. It's going to be just short.
I'd like to know how many tackles Dowling has broken today.
That would be an interesting stat for a football saber arbitration, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's probably the next level, in all honesty.
Yeah.
3rd and short. Well, whoever leads that category, I'm sure Dowling is not far behind. Instead, they keep it away from Dowling, and they bulldoze forward with the fullback Nick Massey, 1st carry of the night. 2nd-year starting fullback, then runs a dive, the trap, can kind of catch the ball. He is their Tom Rathman, or the quintessential fullback down there that played in the 80s. Have to think of a more recent one for the younger fans out there.
Yep, Old Tappan was keying on Dowling, so they gave the ball to Massey. He was able to get up and make the 1st down.
It's at the 13, 1st down coming up for Wayne Hills. I guess there really isn't a current day version of Tom Rathman in the NFL.
No, not too many of those, even in Tom Rathman's days.
Right. Out off the right side. And even if they are, they're kind of hybrid players, more so tight ends these days than they are true fullbacks.
Interesting play last week in the Giants game. They had one play where they had the 2 backs were both tight ends. No running back in, and they were there to protect Eli.
End of 3. Wayne Hills trying to protect a 10-point lead. We'll come back to the North 1 Group 3 championship game at the New Meadowlands as you're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1 presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. Fans, if you want to relive all of today's action again and again, check out NJ.com/Game of the Week for complete game rebroadcasts from the convenience of your computer 24/7. You'll also find archived games from this past season and more. The Star Ledger/NJ.com, it's everything high school sports. We come up on the final scheduled quarter of the 2010 New Jersey State Football Championships, and that Old Tappan bench still hot and heated following a call reversal coming late in the 3rd quarter following what appeared to be a Brian Dowling penalty. Upon our replays, it was clear that Dowling's knee was down, and Dennis Koch and his linesman, after having a discussion and perhaps a peek up at the video board, changed it. And now we get another penalty, and Wayne Hills, for such a battle-tested team, has had all kinds of problems.
Another substitution violation on Wayne Hills. You know, officials want to not have an impact on the outcome of the game, and they've done a good job so far. Unfortunately, if this ends up being the score, that call is going to have a severe impact on this game.
It certainly steals a possession away from the Golden Knights offense. If there's points here, then it's directly related, not in potential, in direct impact. And Chris Olsen is going to jog out here and lay into his offense. They have had some trouble figuring things out. Chris Olsen in his 24th season at the helm of Wade Hills, and what a career he has had. He's going to end up sending his 3 boys onto the college ranks. So there are very few men in the state of New Jersey that have as much credentials and impact on the programs as he does. A former defensive end at small Midland University, a small Lutheran school in the NAIA. He played a little bit in the World Football League for the Philadelphia Bell until that league folded, and he's taken his young boys and Kevin Olsen as well to Joe Paterno's camps all throughout the 90s and this decade. And I think the offense is going to line up properly here for this second down and 13.
He's also one of the most intense high school coaches I've ever had encountered.
Kevin Olsen, youngest son, drops back over the top, and Dowling was in position. It was knocked away. Excellent play. One-on-one on the perimeter by Zach Froelich, a sophomore backup linebacker that was given the assignment.
Olsen's waiting for the receiver to get out into the open, and he's just looking to lead him just by floating the ball over the defender. The defender made a really good play. Froelich made a real good play knocking that ball down. Very close to interference, because in high school you don't have to have contact. Face guarding would be a foul. That was close, but the officials ruled it an incomplete pass.
Olsen sends 3 to his left. A 5-step drop. Looks long again for Dowling, corner of the end zone, and this one is incomplete. Similar defense by Andrew Dobish. And again, this time Dobish able to look back a little bit better than the previous play.
Yeah, he gets the pass out there. Again, I think he put it in the only place he could put it. The question I had was whether or not he would have come down in bounds. A great defensive play by Dobish. But I don't think even if he would have caught it, he would have been able to come down in bounds with that.
Dreese, who just missed from 30, is now going to try from 32. Dreese missed it. Wide left.
Special teams are a very important part of any football game. They don't get a whole lot of discussion in the high school ranks, but as you can see, they've left now 6 points, at least 6 points on the board, which could have pretty much broken this game over. So now Old Tappan gets the stop they needed, and the good news for the officials is that call doesn't affect the game.
I'm sure all of you officials can light a birthday cake after that one. A big sigh of relief here at the New Meadowlands. So it's 1st and 10 at the 20 for Fuller. They've been held off the scoreboard so far in the second. We had a 17-7 ball game at halftime. Fuller, this time a drop back. Looking long again for Trainer. Ball in the air, and this time the flag comes out. 2 at the end. Zaffino had the coverage on John Trainer.
Trainer had a step on the defense, on the defensive backs, was open. The ball was a little bit underthrown, and that allowed the defenders to get back into the play and unfortunately made contact before the ball got there.
That's the biggest play of the second half for Old Tappan.
Big play. Breathe some life into their offense. He's looking deep. He's got him open. A little too much air under the ball, but the defender gets there early, has the contact, and it's a good call by the back judge.
Fuller with a 68% completion percentage this year. And here's the give inside, and A rare time somebody gets it done on the ground besides Fuller. That's a first down carry. First time it's Keith Rodman, who's the leading rusher among running backs.
Well, one of the things we talked about in the beginning of the game, Ralph, was getting the ball to all their playmakers, not just Fuller left, Fuller right. Here's an opportunity, and he makes the most of it by gaining about 11 yards and another first down.
Rodman, a bulldozing junior fullback, goes 5'10", 205. He's definitely been in the lunchroom. Fuller ran into his own man, may have helped him. Fuller wrapped up from behind, close to another first down pickup before Zaffino chased him down. And there's a flag at the end that comes out. Once again, Dennis Koch.
There was some kind of activity going on behind the play. I don't know if there was punching or kicking, but the officials behind the play kept his eye on it, threw the flag. Unfortunately, it takes a good run away from Fuller, who was under heavy pressure, was able to break out of a couple tackles, get 9 yards, but now they're going to bring that back, and it's going to be it's a dead ball foul, so they'll march it off from the end of the run, and it'll be second down and about 14. 16.
This also slows down some of the momentum that the Golden Knights had worked so hard to generate. They get a stop defensively, they get a pair of field goal misses, they get a call against them, and they finally start to move the ball before a mistake like this. That's just their 4th penalty for 50 yards, but we've had a total of 12 in this game, and at times some of them have just seemed befuddling.
That's a momentum killer right there, because now it puts them in a 2nd and long, takes away a close to a first down, a 2nd and 1, and now it's going to be a little more difficult for them to get the first down.
Rodman offset. They motion, they go back inside to the big man Rodman. And Rodman goes right back to where Fuller was dropped. And then 2 flags coming in at the end.
I think you're going to have a face mask on this. But it looks like they found a little hidden treasure with Rodman here in the second half.
Now, Keith Rodman hasn't been hidden this season. He's got 80 carries, 4 touchdowns rushing. He's their leading rusher. As we get the call, the face mask, he's their leading rusher besides Fuller. 6.6 per carry.
Little misdirection. They fake it to the receiver coming around the end, and then they give it to Rodman up the middle. He's following his blockers, and again, now he's running hard. And there's the face mask. He ran hard, pushed the pile a little forward, and now we're in a situation where they're moving the ball, first down.
Still plenty of time left. Approaching 10 minutes to go. Fuller will pull it back. Now he'll take off.
Defense had that play well read. That seems to be their play. They've run that play several times today. This time it didn't fool Wayne Hills.
2nd and long. Still looking for our first score of the second half in a game that most people labeled as a high-scoring affair, but sometimes the new Meadowlands or Giant Stadium will do that. The bigger stage, it'll take it away off the green grass soccer field where it's kind of sandlot football. Seems to maybe have changed this one. The pass just a touch behind is receiver Drew Martinez.
He had Martinez open, threw the ball a little bit behind him, and kind of sailed on him a little bit. It's a design slant, quick slant. He's got Martinez open. He just threw it a little bit behind him. He's lucky that ball wasn't intercepted.
Stopping the clock with about 9.5 left. For Devin Fuller, his numbers, 70 yards rushing, well below his average. 4 of 12 is well below his average. He's got an interception. He's been helped out by a big pass interference call in the second half, too, to help move the ball. And then Fuller wrapped up and popped at the Wayne Hills 34-yard line, but it's another drive that's starting to materialize, and now it's a 4th and long.
And that's, again, what Wayne Hills wanted to do before the game. They don't want to just tap him. They want to hit him hard, and he gets hit pretty hard on this play.
You think that idea about hitting Fuller, in what ways do you think it may have impacted him tonight, or has it impacted him?
Well, I don't know if it's impacted him yet, but you'll see as the game goes on later in this 4th quarter whether all of these hits are going to take its toll. Hogan made a big hit there, and it starts to hurt. If you ever put the pads on, hits like that start to hurt, and it makes you start looking for other things other ways to advance the football.
Old Tappan is going to use their first timeout of the second half. We'll take this moment to remind you, fans, if you want to help your school or any 501c nonprofit group or organization raise funds easily with no direct selling, you can enroll them in the Verizon Velocity fundraising program, and Verizon will make donations when you order new qualifying Verizon products. Your nonprofit can get up to $65 for every new Verizon triple play order. You can learn more visiting them at verizon.com/velocity. Happy you can be with us tonight watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1 presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. It's the North 1 Group 3 championship game between the Wayne Hills Patriots and the Old Tappan Golden Knights. We expected a very good ball game. 2 real good teams this season. Devin Fuller and the Golden Knights unbeaten and 11-0. 10-1 are Wayne Hills. They're in the state final for the 13th time in the last 14 years. And the Golden Knights looking to really threaten here. They fake over the middle, and then Martinez finds it. A tough catch.
That's a great catch by Martinez. Again, the pass was a little bit behind him, but he was able to reach out, grab, and pull it in for a big gain and another first down for Old Tappan. You'll see on the replay, it's a quick strike pass. He steps back, 1-step drop, fires it across, a little bit behind. Martinez is able to go up, make the catch, pull it down, and get a big gain.
Now in a quicker tempo, back to Rodman, lost the ball on the way, but keeps it into the end zone. He's in from 17 yards. And now the Golden Knights have really made it interesting.
And they've used that play at least 3 times on this drive, and it was successful every time. That might be something to look for later on in this game if they're gonna give the ball to Rodman a little bit more. And that gets them within 1 score now.
5th rushing touchdown of the season for Keith Rodman. He did not have a carry in the first half. Just on this last drive, 3 carries for 45 yards. Rizzo, following the muddle huddle tease, puts through the point after. 17-14, and now how do those missed field goals loom by Michael Dreese of Wayne Hills earlier in this half?
Yeah, those anytime you leave points on the board, it can always come back and haunt you. And that 6 points changes this from a 2-possession game to a 1-possession game.
And the Old Tappan crowd, after a lot of frustration in this 3rd quarter, finally back into it after their Golden Knights have persevered through a lot of different adversity.
Well, as you can see, it was a misdirection play. They faked it to the wide receiver, and Rodman took the ball virtually untouched into the end zone. That play's been working a lot the second half. Now it will be interesting to see if they kick the ball or if they try another short free kick.
Rodman's had a tough day. He's also the starting defensive end. So he has been blocked on the edge trying to tackle Dowling. Rizzo, another chip shot. Taken at the 24-yard line. And Dreese, not much there because Rodman got him. 1st and 10 at the 30.
Well, looks like you got a little momentum shifting. Old Tappan is a little fired up right now.
So Keith Rodman 17 yards out. It took 2 minutes, 24 seconds. They go 80 yards following the missed field goal.
Look for Wayne Hills to try to move the chains, run the clock down, shorten the game, and get a score at the end of this drive.
Olsen directing some traffic. They had a substitution penalty earlier. It's Dowling. This is an easy choice. Runs into Martinez. He'll get some good forward progress to the 35.
Old Tappan is fired up right now, but still, a 5-yard gain is not a bad way to start a drive.
And there's what Chris Olsen telling Jill at halftime. We've played well, but probably not well enough yet at halftime. He knows what he's talking about. He's been in enough games like this.
He does know what he's talking about. This is not new for him. He's not fazed by the game, the emotions, the surroundings. That's for sure.
Wayne Hills has 2 timeouts to go. It's Dowling upended as he crossed the 40. The spot, though, will give him the first down as he works on over 150 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns, each coming in the first half. He's been held a bit in check here in the last couple of drives.
And he's going to make sure, as well as the whole Wayne Hills offense, they're going to protect the ball here. Move the chains, run the clock.
Sophomore Kevin Olsen, first-year starting quarterback, will give it back to Dowling. And Dowling breaks through the pile. And you just get the sense that with this being crunch time, Chris Olsen is not going very deep in the playbook.
No, he's giving it to the guy that he has the most confidence in right now. Kevin Olsen, though, I got to tell you, very impressed with his poise so far. He looks very comfortable under the center for a sophomore. He's running the offense. He's directing this team down the field. It makes it a little easy when you hand the ball off to Brian Dowling.
Back off left side on 1st and 10. And Wayne Hills across into enemy territory and continuing to bleed the clock here.
Yeah, they gave the ball to Dowling again, and he was only able to pick up a couple yards.
Wayne Hills was able to comfortably move through the playoffs by a combined score of 97-0. But they look like a team that has been battle-tested. Now a loose football. Olsen able to fall on it. And a late flag comes in from the sideline. It was after the play was blown dead.
I didn't see what this was. This game is getting chippy.
I'd say it has been chippy between the 3 different players in this game, the officials being the 3rd. And Kevin Olsen, most importantly for Wayne Hills, fortunate to land on that ball.
Yeah, that could have been a huge turnover. And again, as we talked, that was one of the keys to the game, is no turnovers for them. They don't want to turn over here.
10th Wayne Hills penalty for 85 yards.
Yeah, most of the penalties against Wayne Hills have been pretty severe penalties.
And the old Tappan crowd looking for a stop. This is 3rd and 27. Wide receiver screen, Dreesy is not going to shake through, but there's a late flag at the end of it. The question is if it's a face mask of the 5-yard or 15 variety.
Well, I don't think we have 5 yards. I'm not sure. We do have 5 yards in high school?
Even if it's the 15, that's not enough.
But 15 would have carried an automatic first down. 5 does not.
To the 46.
Still makes it a difficult third down, but not as difficult as it was.
We get a timeout used here by Wayne Hills. Let's step out, catch our breath. Group 3 championship winding down as Wayne Hills looking to finish off another title in their great history. You're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1 presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. Fans, you can enroll in the Verizon Share the Network program, and you and every person you refer to Verizon can get up to $50 a piece, so everybody wins. Earn up to $600 in rewards a year, including reward cards good at hundreds of top-name retailers where American Express cards are welcome. It's a win-win situation as your friend gets the entertainment, power, and reliability of the network, and you will both get rewarded. The Verizon Share the Network program, you can enroll with it today at sharethenetwork.com/7. This is a 3rd and 16. If we get a chance, we'll try to explain the last penalty. Olsen, he's got a chance with plenty of time. Now fires to the sideline. It's broken up and incomplete. Zaffino made a heck of a catch. A, it would have been short of the first. B, he was out of bounds. So it'll be 4th and 16. Rich, go back to that 3rd and 27 play. Dreesy picks up about a 9-yard reception, a face mask at the end, and then it still became 3rd down once more.
You don't lose a foul. You don't lose it down when there's an accepted penalty. So you do kind of get the yardage plus the tack on of the foul. The officials didn't write the rule book, but they got that one right.
Fuller stands deep. Dowling, not a good punt, but a great roll. And another penalty marker flown in at the very end of that. And again, the two teams in this state championship game have not been able to keep it clean.
This is going to back up Old Tappan back to about the 11 and a half yard line.
A personal foul. This is going to go on Old Tappan's Thomas Kramer. He's a sophomore linebacker. He was tangled up with Nick Massey, who's the senior. And if it's going to happen for the Golden Knights, they've got 5:22 to work with, 2 timeouts, and to take the lead, they'll have to go 90 yards.
Yep. The lack of discipline on Old Tappan has just made this a little bit more of a difficult attempt for them, having pushed the ball back half the distance to the goal line.
Fuller has been able to hit a couple of deep passes during the last couple of series. He's found Martinez on some slants. They got Keith Rodman involved during the last series with 3 carries for 45 yards and the touchdown. The tight end Dale Veselski has been quiet in the second.
Let's see if they'll feature Rodman again. And here he is.
On first down, they do. Hogan able to touch him down at the very end before his line tripped him up. We have had 15 combined penalties for 150 yards. Here was a clean play.
It's also very frustrating for the players involved when you have so many flags. Some of the flags are warranted, sometimes they're not, but you got to play smart, especially in a championship game.
Fuller, he'll look long again. Downfield, Martinez. Best catch of the night.
Perfect pass. Martinez went up, brought it down, He had to go up pretty high to get that pass. And Fuller to Martinez and Rodman have been carrying the offense here in the second half. Play action, holds the linebackers, and he's able to find the hole in the zone and hit Martinez.
It's out to the 45. And Fuller and Martinez have been the best connection all year for this Golden Knights team. Now he'll keep it. And through the middle, Devin Fuller electrifies another first down to the 44.
This is what they were looking for all game from Fuller. Spent the first 3 quarters maybe softening up the defense, and now they've got what could be a championship drive on their hands.
Coming up on the 4-minute mark. Rodman on the inside give. And every play now on this drive and in the second half, it's been steady 4- and 5-yard pickups for an offense that in the first half compared to what it is right now, Rich, seemed primitive. It was strictly the single wing with Devin Fuller. Not that you can blame Brian Dunn, because that's how talented Fuller is, but it is certainly a much more spectacular menu.
Yeah, this is some smash mouth football now. They're just driving the ball up between the tackles with Rodman, something they didn't do at all in the first half.
And it's Rodman again. A third and a long yard plus looming. And Old Tappan is bleeding this down. Coming up in under 3 minutes. And that's their big left tackle, first team all-league, Louis Petroselli, that's slow to get up at 6'3", 300. And Petroselli, a second-year starter, having some trouble lining up. You know he does not want to exit. Third and a long yard and a half. Fuller. And Fuller is going to be dropped for a loss.
And you got to wonder if the injury to Petroselli had an impact on that play, because they tried to run over him, and the defense basically blew that play up. Yeah, he didn't get much of a block there. His leg must be bothering him.
Timeout, Old Tappan. They have 1 remaining with 2:02 on the clock. It's going to be 4th down and 5. Now with a 1 timeout left and a 3 and out, this does not necessarily have to translate into a state championship deciding play, but it sure would help Wayne Hills feel good about their chances if they were to stop it here.
Yeah, this is a huge play. If Wayne Hills can get a stop here, with the only 1 timeout left, they can at least milk the clock to almost nothing and make it almost impossible for Wayne Hills to go the whole field in a short period of time.
Brian Dunn, who's also the offensive coordinator, head coach of this team, now in his 11th year. They're going to go for another 4th down. They're 1 for 1 tonight. They send Pinelli far right side. Dobish is in the slot. Fuller in the single wing. Fuller, run pass option. Run is the choice. First down, the result.
Keep the ball in the hands of the guy that makes the plays. He was able to get outside of the containment. The wide receiver took his defensive back deep, took him out of the play. The man in motion took the linebacker out of the play. Fuller was able to get around the containment and just get the first down.
There's 40, Peter Davies, the defensive end, that tried valiantly just to keep him in that pocket. And remember that play. Wayne Hills has led from the start. Keith Rodman, and he trips up just before he could plunge forward. That's another 8-yard pickup.
Rodman's been huge in this second half, and especially on this drive. The defense is very aware of Fuller, and they're not focusing too much on 44, and he's running right up the middle and gaining big chunks of yardage.
He's got 67 yards rushing all in this half and a 17-yard touchdown. It's Fuller on a double fake, smothered by Davies. If it's not enough for the first down, he'll be just short of it, setting up a 3rd and short. A timeout is going to be called now by Old Tappan. This is their final timeout they're going to use right here.
Interesting call. I would have waited to see if the officials were going to call for a measurement that would have given them a stoppage and let themselves get organized. But it looks like the officials had it marked short. So now they're going to have to do it without any timeouts, which means they're going to have to use. They're going to be difficult to use the middle of the field. They're going to have to use the outside, the sidelines as their friend to try to keep the clock stopped with a minute to go.
It's marked as just shy of a yard, but much more than inches. Well, this is the history we'll be adding very soon to. Will it be Wayne Hills again after they tie the state record with 5 straight state titles during the playoff format established in 1974? Or will it be Old Tappan, their first since 1985? Fuller, he'll hand it off. They're going to grab the first down. It's Pinelli, and Jeff Pinelli is out of bounds to the 16. They've teased that play the whole night.
All day long, they've been faking the ball to Pinelli coming around the end, and this time they gave it to him, and it worked for a big first down. The timing on that play is such that as he's going in motion, he's getting right to the quarterback right as the ball is being snapped. So the handoff is almost immediately as the quarterback is getting his hands on the ball.
A first down at the Wayne Hills 16. Fuller, he'll look for Martinez, and it's overthrown. Dreese had the opportunity for the interception.
That would have been a killer right there. That would have ended the game if he can come up with that interception just off his fingertips.
Pauses the clock. Wayne Hills has missed 2 second-half field goals. They held the lead at the break at 17-7. Fuller off left side.
And now the clock will continue to run.
No timeouts left for the Golden Knights. They just used their last one at about the 56-second mark it was. Chris Olson would like to keep his for Wayne Hills. He has 1 left. Fuller looks for the man coverage over the middle. It's Martinez. And for the first time all night, Old Tappan leads.
Well, and Martinez has been getting open a lot the second half. Fuller's been hitting him, had some big gains, and that's the biggest one of the day. That touchdown puts him in front. This is an important extra point. A successful extra point here will force Wayne Hills to have to score a touchdown to win the game.
Rizzo, and he has been perfect on point afters. A 4-point lead. And the senior Rizzo, with Wayne Hills having one timeout left. But Devin Fuller, Drew Martinez connect. Keith Rodman doing a lot of the dirty work. And that offensive line plowing some holes that they did not plow in the first half.
They made some adjustments at halftime. They changed the focus of their offense off of Fuller. They started handing the ball around to their other playmakers, and it culminated in this touchdown from Fuller to Martinez. I think the safety got sucked up on a play action and was going in the wrong direction when the pass was thrown.
Personal fouls, a change of possession, playing well below their numbers in terms of average in yards, and still the Golden Knights have found a way to take the lead. And they have scored 2 consecutive touchdowns in the fourth. This time it's Dowling from the 13-yard line. On the line drive, he takes it to about the 30. He pitches it back. It's Zaffino. He's got a block. Troy Zaffino. He's got a lot of room. Zaffino, one man to beat. He's going to go in.
Oh, my.
And there's no flags.
What a play. Dowling was stopped, virtually stopped, and he had the presence of mind to pitch the ball to Zaffino, who took the ball up the whole sideline, had a couple guys ahead of him blocking, leading the way. A big hit block right there to spring him, and then it just becomes a foot race. What a finish to this game.
The Wayne Hills crowd trying to restrain themselves. Zaffino, who was hurt earlier in the game, I think he got hurt again.
I think the old Tappan coaches felt that his progress was stopped before he pitched the ball.
Dreesy for the point after. There will have to be another kickoff. And that one put through to make it a 3-point game.
Well, interestingly enough, Ralph, at the end of the first half, we had 10 points scored late in the half, and we have the same thing here in the end of the second half. Dowling takes the ball at about the 15-yard line. He's met at about the 30. He's driven back, and he pitches the ball to Zaffino. Gets a big block. Now it's a foot race. He's got one guy up ahead of him to help usher him into the end zone.
A 75-yard return off the lateral for junior Troy Zaffino. He left the game briefly in the third quarter.
Yeah, the old Tappan coaches aren't happy. I think they really feel that his forward progress was stopped before he pitched the ball. But what presence of mind by Dowling to realize that he had a player on his team there, put it in the air, give it to him, and open up that whole side of the field for a huge kick return.
Well, this new building does not yet have a special play to christen it. I think that's the one. Kind of a newer version, a new miracle at the new Meadowlands, pending this kickoff.
Well, I think you could be pretty sure that they're not going to kick the ball to number 7.
Fuller, very dangerous here because not only is he a great return guy, he's also a quarterback that can throw it across. Now, should it be a squib, Old Tappan does not have any timeouts left. And Chris Olson does. He is going to make sure to organize everybody for this kickoff. It does give Brian Dunn and the Golden Knights team a chance to assess their possibilities.
Well, I think at some point, whether they squib it or kick it deep, I think at some point they're going to try to get the ball in the 7's hands.
And what's the strategy here?
Well, again, if you're Wayne Hills, you want to kick the ball, probably you're going to try to squib it down the middle of the field. Try to at least get your return team down to get in position to make a play before they build up momentum on the returning and get a return. If I'm Old Tappan, no matter who ends up with the ball, I'm getting it to number 7 and letting him see what he can do. We could have, this could be one of those plays where there's a bunch of laterals before the play is over.
Dreesy is the kickoff specialist. He's a senior. His older brother, Ronnie, already has a state title. Michael is 5 seconds away. They'll put it on the ground. And here we go. It's Fuller. And now with options, the clock has expired. No time left. He needs to throw it backwards. He does, finding Pinelli on a loose ball, and that's it. Wayne Hills survives. A miracle at the New Meadowlands. 24-21. Wayne Hills, their state champions again.
That's a dramatic finish to this game. We knew it was going to be a good game. We knew the score was going to be close, and the game definitely lived up to its billing. But what a way to finish a game. Right after a score, to come back with the ensuing kick return, to go all the way, take it to the house, to win a state championship. That's quite thrilling.
Wayne Hills, after falling at Giants Stadium last year in a game they admitted they didn't really play particularly well against Ramapo, they were on the ropes again before just a sensational, wild play to decide this one and break a young Old Tappan team's hearts that had been seeking their first state title since 1985. They did well just to climb back. And a game marred with mistakes and penalties turns out to be ended by a big surprise.
And the good news for Old Tappan is a couple of your key players are all coming back next year. They should be just as strong as they were this year. Their offense sputtered a little bit today. They did not put up the numbers that they've been putting up all year, but the second half they played much better. They played more Old Tappan football. They spread the ball around. They moved the ball better. They scored. I think they're in shock right now the way this game ended. And I think you can even say that Wayne Hills is probably a little surprised.
We'll sort it out. We'll get the post-game reaction. We'll come back. We'll show you Troy Zaffino's run to the end zone. Again, when we come back, you're watching the Star Ledger, NJ.com, and Verizon FIOS 1 presentation of the NJSIAA Football Championships. It's Wayne Hills again in Group 3.